I request everyone to please go on mute. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of FLO Chairperson Priya Gazdar and YFLO Chairperson Priti Jain, I, Radhika Agarwal, Growth Forge and Digital Literacy Head, warmly welcome our esteemed speaker, Professor Malavika Harita, FLO past chairs, members, and aspiring entrepreneurs to Spark Tank session, Master the Art of Pitching and Strategic Business Storytelling. As entrepreneurs, business leaders, and change makers, we are all constantly telling stories, whether it's presenting to an investor, connecting with a customer, or rallying a team. The way we communicate our vision can make a difference. And it is important that our story must resonate in seconds and leave a lasting impact. A great pitch is not just about selling, it's about solving. And strategic storytelling is not just about narratives, it's about connecting authentically with your audience. This session is designed to equip you with practical tools, actionable techniques, and a fresh perspective to elevate your pitches and craft powerful business stories. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. We will take it at the end of the session. Now, I would like to invite FLO Chairperson Priya Gazdar to address our members.
Thank you, Radhika. Namaste. Good afternoon and welcome to everybody in the Zoom room. Today's session of Spark Tank is a crucial step in our journey towards empowering FLO entrepreneurs across every stage of business growth. Spark Tank is more than just a program. It's a launchpad for transformation. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur seeking to scale new heights, a visionary looking to diversify into new arenas, or someone standing at the starting line of your entrepreneurial journey, Spark Tank is designed to equip you with the tools, the mentorship, and insights to thrive. Over the course of our Spark Tank program, participants will gain access to curated mentorship sessions, thought-provoking workshops led by top academics and industry experts, immersive visits to startup incubators, and opportunities to refine your business strategies. Through structured guidance on everything from business modeling and market strategy to the art of networking and storytelling, Spark Tank promises to arm our entrepreneurs with a competitive edge to shine in today's dynamic business environment. To set the tone for this exciting journey, we have with us today an exceptional speaker, Professor Malavika Harita. Professor Malavika is a thought leader whose expertise spans across academia, entrepreneurship, and strategic communication. Her insights into branding and business storytelling have been transformative for numerous organizations, and it's an honor to have her with us here today. This session, focused on mastering the art of pitching and strategic business storytelling, is divided into two sessions, and in today's session, Professor Malavika Harita will be focusing on strategic business storytelling. So I urge all of you to approach today's session with curiosity and a willingness to absorb, reflect, and apply. Let's harness the wisdom and energy in this room to fuel our ambitions and transform them into tangible success. Thank you. And let's embark on this extraordinary journey with Spark Tank. I'll hand you over to Priti Jain, Chairperson YFLO Hyderabad. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a privilege to welcome you all to this impactful session under the Spark Tank initiated by FLO and YFLO Hyderabad. Today, we embark on a journey to refine one of the most crucial skills in business, crafting pitches that inspire and telling stories that connect. As Simone wisely said, people don't buy what you do. People buy why you do it. The ability to convey your why, your vision, your passion can transform a simple idea into a movement, an opportunity into a success story. We are incredibly fortunate to have Professor Malavika Harita. Welcome, ma'am. She's a true powerhouse in communication and branding, and expertise will empower us to think differently, speak confidently, and lead with impact. Over the next two sessions, let us embrace this opportunity to challenge ourselves, learn, and grow together. Remember, your story is not just about what you've done, it's about you're capable of achieving. Let this session be the first step in unlocking that potential. Thank you, and let's make this an unforgettable experience and learning. Thank you.
Thank you, Riddhi. Now, we're delighted to introduce. You're done, Riddhi, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So now we're delighted to introduce our esteemed speaker, Professor Malavika Harita, a communication evangelist, brand strategist, teacher, and corporate trainer with a passion for mentoring startups and empowering women entrepreneurs. As a founder of Brand Circle, a consultancy specializing in communication and corporate training, she has been instrumental in shaping strategic growth for organizations since 2018. Professor Harita also serves as a resident mentor at NSRCEL IIM Bangalore, where she actively guides startups in both the profit and non-profit sectors. Her contribution extends beyond mentorship. She is a member of the Board of Governors of IIM Bangalore and IIM Vishakhapatnam and serves on the Governing Council of Mount Carmel College. Additionally, she chairs the Big Bang Awards Committee and is the treasurer of the Advertising Club Bangalore. Professor Harita brings an incredible 41 years of expertise in marketing, communication, and entrepreneurship. She was the driving force behind Saatchi and Saatchi Focus in India, which she founded and led as CEO for 25 years. Today, her focus remains on brand consultancy and strategic planning, areas where she has consistently delivered excellence. Her academic contributions span over 30 years, during which she has taught at prestigious postgraduate institutions in India and abroad. She also designs and conducts executive education programs and workshops for practicing managers. A trailblazer in every sense, Professor Harita holds several firsts. The first woman to win the Distinguished Alumni Award from IIM Bangalore, the first woman to deliver the Founders' Day lecture at IIM Bangalore, the first woman to serve as president of the IIMB Alumni Association, the first woman alumnus to serve on the IIM Bangalore board in its 50-year history. She is also a TEDx speaker and was one of the first Gurukul Chevening scholars selected by the British government for a specializing program at the London School of Economics. Professor Malvika Harita's remarkable journey is a testament to her vision, leadership, and commitment to empowering individuals and organizations alike. We are honored to have you here with us today. Now, I invite Ms. Malvika Harita to take the session forward.
Thank you. Okay, so now that you all know how old I am, Radhika, I've probably been doing this much longer than a lot of you were even born. But I am very happy doing what I do after I retired from corporate life. And now that I teach and mentor full time, I don't have clients like all of you have to suffer with. Some of whom are pretty tiresome, but I can just do exactly what I like. So I'm, in fact, enjoying my 60s. I only wish that I didn't have the creaky bones that I have now. So if I'd had the wisdom that I have now when I was 24, life would have been great, but then God never gives you what you really want to have. So welcome, and I'm very happy to be here. Thanks to FLO and to Radhika for inviting me. I like the name Spark Tank, though I do not like the TV show Shark Tank, which is a very tough one and I think built for media presence really. But I like the idea of sparking ideas, the thought that you are helping ideas to grow to fruition. So that is what I'm going to talk about in this session and the next one. As Radhika mentioned, put your questions down on chat and I'll pick it up or I'll ask one of them to help me with it every 5 or 10 minutes so that the sessions don't become too long and dragging. I've broken up whatever I'm going to say into two sessions. So today I'm going to talk about the strategic part of pitching. And in the next session, we'll actually do or I'll give you tips on how to pitch better, the whole communication perspective. But I'm a very strong believer that communication does not work without a proper strategy. And that is what I'm going to focus on today. Let me share my screen. Take it from there. I call you all wonderpreneurs because you are a combination of wonder women and entrepreneurs. And I think you're doing a fantastic job in making a difference in your circles of influence. My love and blessings to all of you. And as I said earlier, makes me very, very happy to see so many young women trying to change things around them. And I think it's only if all of us do our little bit, change spreads like the ripples in water. I am a woman, of course, but having been a woman born in a completely different generation 4 decades ago, I've realized that it is very hard to be a woman. And I don't think that has changed at all over the last few years. I don't think anything has changed at all. It's still very hard to be a woman because you're constantly balancing these avatars. I call them the 5 avatars which make up all of us. You have the me avatar, which unfortunately, being women, and this is something I would like to caution you against, please don't neglect the me. We get so busy with our families and our jobs and our companies and all the people around us that we stretch ourselves too thin. And we don't spend that little time that you need every day just to recharge your batteries. We recharge our cell phones every night religiously, but we never recharge our personal batteries. And my advice to you, having gone through all of this myself, is never neglect yourself. Give yourself that little time. It makes you much happier and a better person. Most of us have families, so that is something we can't get away with. You're building your professional avatars, and you need to build a minimal social presence because that is how people are going to find you. And with the explosion of social media and digital media, you can't escape from that. However, you can take a call on the public avatar. You may or may not want to build a public avatar. That's completely up to you. But my advice, focus professionally on your professional avatar and a social avatar. You don't need to become a social media influencer, but you distinctly need to have a digital footprint. At this point in your journeys, I strongly believe that you and your company brand, your brand and your company brand are, shall I say, intertwined. At a later stage, as you grow, you may take a decision to separate the two. But I think at this point in your existence, it makes sense to build the two brands together because of sheer lack of time. And obviously, it costs money to do so. I want you to understand that we're much stronger than we look. My personal belief, and don't quote me on this, is that we are the stronger sex. Men are actually quite emotionally fragile, and I'm sure all of you will agree with me here. I think we're much stronger than we look, though we may not have muscles, etc. Though I know some of my students are becoming power lifters, and their muscles, are as good as any man's. So please embrace this inner strength and believe in yourself. This is something that I want all of you to think about deeply, because at certain times in life, you go through, especially as entrepreneurs, you've chosen a very, very difficult path. You sometimes begin to wonder whether you shouldn't just chuck it all up and lead a comfortable life. But I don't want you to do that. You can do anything you want to do. But I also want to caution you that if you realize you've done something which isn't working for you, have the guts to walk away. We don't do this enough, we women particularly. we continue doing things which we are not comfortable with or shouldn't be doing. So please believe in yourself, but understand when to walk away. You're not helpless. As I said earlier, I think we're much stronger than men, or at least I am, most of the men I know. It bothers me when I see women making their gender an excuse for not doing things. Of course, some of us have genuine problems at home and with our families, which don't allow us to reach our full potential. But there are a lot of women, and I meet so many across the globe who actually use their gender to not push themselves. So this is something I wouldn't like you to do. Learn to communicate. I can't tell you how important that is, especially because we're women, right? So we kind of get taken for granted, or we become part of the wallpaper. And this is something I want you to learn to do, which is speak up and learn to communicate. Now, all of us are not natural born communicators, but this is a skill that you can learn. And I hope these 2 sessions will help you understand the basics and how you can work on it. I have never regretted being a woman. I have never allowed glass ceilings to stay in my way. And the only way I've done this is by ensuring that I know more than anybody in the room. And it is my strong belief, and it is something that I live by, that knowledge is actually power. You don't need anybody. You don't need anybody's help, in the sense that you don't need anyone to boost you up. All you need is your mind, and building that mind into something powerful, which means we can never stop learning, and we have to constantly explore. So after that little mommy talk, pardon me, I do this regularly. And I believe that by sharing some of what I've learned over the last 66 years, it could benefit you. So that's why I do this little business mommy talk. Radhika will tell you about it. I call myself business mommy, right? So that's me. So the only thing I regret sometimes is that I can't have pockets on my kurtas. I used to say that I feel sorry for men because they just shave every day. Now they don't. But I regret the pockets on my kurtas, which would make me look even fatter than I am. So I avoid that. Yeah. I want to talk about communication. I've said it's very critical. I want you to articulate 2 value propositions. I'll show you how to do it in a bit. One value proposition is for your organization, but I want all of you to personally articulate your own value proposition as a human being, which has got nothing to do with your company, right? I want you to articulate those 2 value propositions very clearly, because that, in fact, tells you who you are, who your audience is, what is the problem you're solving for them, and why you're better than competition. And believe me, ladies, whether we like it or not, every business in this world is competitive. There's competition across every category, and there is so much competition in the startup ecosystem, as you very well know. Everyone is competing for the same pie, and you need to build yourself and position yourself in a way that makes people listen to you or buy your product, or allows you to become a thought leader in the process, right? So whatever I'm going to talk about today, we are devoting it to your organization. But what I would actually like you to do is build this up into your personal value proposition. Are you all hearing me clearly? My audio is clear? Oh, okay, great.
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay, great. So as was mentioned, today I'm going to do strategic business storytelling and talk about the pitching. Radhika, just mute everyone, please. Thank you. Now, business storytelling. Storytelling is a very fashionable word, like diversity and inclusion, right? These are all very fashionable terms right now. And everybody, AI, ML, they're all trending words. What people forget to tell you is a story is not once upon a time. A story, especially your business story, has to depict a strategy, right? So there has to be very clear strategic foundations before you can build the story. The story is the narrative, but the narrative requires a foundation. So those of you who are architects and builders in this group, you can't build the roof without building the foundations, right? And that is what I strongly believe in. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. Right? So I have created this framework that I call the strategic business story framework, and specifically for startups like yourselves and entrepreneurs like yourself. There are 4 parts to what I'm going to talk about now. One is your architecting or building the building blocks of your story. Then you need to build the building, whatever it is. Then you need to deliver your message. And as a last step, you need to amplify your message. Okay? In today's social media world, it's not enough to be just good. You also need to talk about why you're good and, more importantly, why you're better. Now, on this slide, I had put down the content blocks that you need to build. All right. Now, these are mini presentations in a way, and I want you to create a library of slides or documents which kind of cover all of this, starting with a very basic thing. You may think these are very basic and simple. They're not when you sit down and actually try to write them down, including your product and service definition. I wonder how many of you can articulate what you do in 1 minute, right? You need to be able to define your product or service very, very sharply. And the point I'm trying to make here is the sharper all these definitions are, without using adjectives, and please do not use ChatGPT. It is such complicated language with a lot of adjectives which no one uses in real life. So I want you to sit down, and you could take a screenshot or be recording it so you'll have this with you. I want you to sit down and put down your product or service definition, the problem you're solving, who are your stakeholders, the overall stakeholder ecosystem, who are your consumers, and you may have more than one segment. Who is your competition? And don't tell me you don't have competition. Every category has competition, both direct and indirect. We'll talk about that in a bit. I want you to articulate your value proposition, your entire value chain. That is how you're going to deliver this product or service to your customer. I want you to define your business model. What is your revenue model? How do you propose to make money? What is your cost structures? Very importantly, and this is something a lot of entrepreneurs do not do, and a lot of women don't do, which is understand money, right? You are in the business of making money. Even if you are a social enterprise, you need to make money so that you don't rush around with a begging bowl. And finally, GTM stands for go to market. You need to put down how you're going to reach the consumer, what are you going to say to them, and how you're going to arrive there, right? So I'm just going to I spent a little more time on this slide because these are the components, these are the blocks on which any story is built. Now, once you've got these blocks in place, then you can give it a spin or a twist, and I will take you through how to do that. But please, ladies, all of you, sit down and articulate this very clearly, not just for yourselves, but also for your staff. Once you've done this, this is the kind of fun part where you logically structure your content, you write it, you edit it, you have the design and aesthetics. This is the fun part. But if you don't have this, you can't have this. So it's like putting on makeup on a mask, right? If you don't have the base in place, you don't have any amount of beautification doesn't work, because the moment you present a story without any content, people see through it. It becomes very, very shallow. Okay, so this is something I want you to keep in mind. The third part is the delivery of this story. Now, delivering, it could be a face-to-face presentation. It could be sending out a document, preferably a presentation. It could be lecture, anything. Or you want to have an informal talk with your people. Now, there are three parts to this. I call this my P cubed formula. One is your passion. All of you have that. That's obviously why you have chosen to become entrepreneurs. My point to you, ladies, is you must have a purpose and a plan. So every time you communicate, you not only have the passion with which you communicate, but the purpose and a plan for doing so. And mostly we fail on the last two, and we think we can just talk for effect, which is what I notice in a lot of the startup founders. They talk a lot, especially the unicorns and the soonicorns. They talk a lot, but at the end of 30 minutes, you're wondering what did they really say? Is there anything meaningful that they said? I don't want you to be communicators for effect. I want you to be effective communicators, right? There's a very subtle difference. Please do cultivate that. Obviously, once you've got your stories right, then you can look at the whole piece on organizational branding, your personal branding, your communication strategy, digital marketing, and database marketing. Now, I've been talking to a lot of so-called storytellers, and they immediately get into this whole area of personal branding. And I want to caution you, there is no harm in building a personal brand, but have some substance to the brand. You also need a phygital presence, PHYGITAL presence, physical and digital. You can't build this personal brand on a digital presence alone. You also need it to be rooted in the physical world. So you need a combination of both to build a brand. So don't believe people when they say, oh, personal branding, oh, it's so easy, do this. That's not it. And if you want to get into the digital media, you need to have a proper strategy. And this is why I find that a lot of companies struggle, because they don't have a plan, they don't have the resources, and they don't have a vision of where they want to go, right? If you want digital marketing and personal branding to work for you, ensure that you know where you're going. Okay. Any questions? Anything in chat? Let me just pick it up. Right, okay. If there are any questions, please put it on chat. Pick it up. I'm starting with a very ridiculously simple diagram, okay? And as I get older, my thinking is becoming simpler and simpler. I refuse to complicate anything. So I may look a little simplistic, but believe me, if you try to use any of the frameworks that I'm sharing with you, you're going to find it pretty tough, because it requires you to actually filter down to what the basics, what are the actual basics that you want to play. So all of you have a product or a service. Okay. You have a price for it, which is cost plus hopefully a profit. You have competition, and as I mentioned, there's competition in every category. Then you have customers who need the product or service, and that is called your target audience. I'm just giving you what each of these means. You have people who are prepared to pay for it, and that is your demand. And this is what I want you to focus on. We get very excited that 8.4 billion people could be our audience in this universe. Not true. Out of the 8.4, there could be just 1,000 people who are prepared to pay for your product. And that's what you should be interested in. The bigger picture is, tells you where you could go, but the picture of demand tells you who you should be talking to. Then you need to promote your product or service. You need to deliver it. And you need to get people to buy again, which is repeat purchase, and finally build a loyal customer franchise. Now, what happens in a typical business scenario is we are so busy running after new customers that we forget about our loyal customers. And my advice to you, based on my experience of the last 40 years of building brands and companies, is please ensure that your loyal customer base is about 40 to 60% of your total revenue. The moment you do that, you have a very, very solid business. The remaining 40%, you can, chase new customers, but try and build a solid base, just like building a building. We neglect our loyal customers because we begin to take them for granted. This is like a pair of old shoes or an old partner. You sort of take them for granted. Never do that. Build this loyal customer base to give you your stable revenue. You need to feed yourself and your people month on month, right? So repeat purchase is also, and this is also very important for you to note, repeat purchase means that you have delivered the first time, that the product promise that you have made your customers has actually delivered what you said it would. Okay, this is very, very important. I also want you to be very clear that your products are exemplary. A lot of us use contract manufacturing, no harm in that, but ensure that whatever you're selling goes under your name. Remember, it's your brand. Ensure that you never compromise on the product quality. The moment you do that, you lose customers, and you cannot keep trying to fill a leaky bucket. You keep filling it from the top and it keeps leaking from the bottom because attrition is very high. Now, please note that a normal attrition rate of customers is about 10% for a decent company, 5 to 10%, right? So anyway, you have to fill that up. But if it goes beyond, I think you have a solid problem with your product. So please be very clear about how you're going to build your business.
1 week అవుతుంది కదా వీక్నెస్ లాగా ఉన్నది తినట్లే కదా అసలు నోట్లో
Who's not muted? I keep hearing some voices in the background. Okay. Great. You have you have 5 avatars. Your brand has 3. You have your marketing avatar, the side which faces the customers. You're familiar with that. And I want you to look at the other 2, which are becoming extremely important, especially as you scale. One is the talent brand. That is the brand or the face that your customers see, that your employees see. And finally, you have the corporate brand, which is what is revealed to all your stakeholders. So if you look at this chart that I have put up, I have my employees, I have my stakeholders, who could be analysts, government, etc. You have your customers, B2B, B2C, and you have your trade partners and your e-commerce partners. You need to be communicating with all of these at different stages. Your messaging may be different, right? Because you're talking to different people, but the core of your message must say exactly the same thing. And that is how you build brands in reality. So this is your entire communication ecosystem. So I hope you realized that brand storytelling is not so simple. It is very layered and complex, which is why I am very keen that you understand the strategy of storytelling. How are you going to grow? How do you propose to grow? How do you propose to articulate your business growth plan? And how do you write down how do you put this pitch deck, as I call it? I've given it a name, but it's actually your library of material, your library of slides, which you can then take out and use. It's like building a wardrobe, right? You've got all your shelves in place. So I'm going to spend a little time now on this whole process and how actually you do it. I can see a solitary gentleman in the frame. Suba. Okay. The first question I want to ask all of you, I want you to ask yourself actually, what is your vision? Someone mentioned Simon Sinek's why, right? Do you ask yourself where you want to go? And I don't want, the other problem with a lot of startups is because of media pressure, and pardon my saying so, because of Shark Tanks of the world, everyone wants to go where everyone else is going, right? With the result that marketplaces are getting crowded and you have a lot of Me Too's who are doing the exact same thing. So this is something I want you to think about. Where do you want to go? And how are you going to get there? There is a tool that we use in strategic planning. It's called the Business Model Canvas. There's another version which I'd like you to look at. It's called the Lean Canvas, Lean, Lean Canvas. This is actually a snapshot of your organization on one side of one sheet of paper. Play around with it, try it. It actually helps you to crystallize your business. It's a good base, but that is not the entire part of your strategy. The other thing, ladies, I want all of you to do is write down your thoughts. If you don't do that, what will happen is that you are not clear, you will forget, and your team will definitely be confused, right? So please write down your business strategy. I'm a consumer behaviorist by profession, and I always believe that you need to know your consumer very, very well. And this is not a AI generated or internet generated persona. This is a much deeper look at who this customer is and how they behave, right? Do you have a plan of action? Very nice to say, I want to be president of India, but how do you propose to do that? And this is where I want you to look at another formula of mine, which is, are you profitable? Are you sustainable? Are you going to be able to do this month on month on month? And are you scalable? Can you grow? Now, let's pause here for a minute. Scalability is all about you. Scalability is how comfortable you are. You don't need to be 10x or 20x or 15x. If you are okay with, say, 3 schools where you do them well, right? It's perfectly fine. But I want you to think about one thing alone. Are you using all your resources optimally? So scalability, in my scheme of things, is building your organization in such a way that you are utilizing 100% of your capacity. You get what I'm saying? So if you can make 100 units a day, your plan should be to sell 100 units a day, right? You can't have capacity for 100 and make 60, which means you have a 40% idle capacity. And that is not the way to run a business. Even if you do contract manufacturing, if you can absorb the entire production capacity of your vendor, you can negotiate for much, much better rates. Okay, so keep this in mind. Scalability in your hands, scalability in your control, but scalability to take care or to leverage your 100% of your production capacity. Now, if you're in the services business and you're employing people, they become your resources. So if you have 10 people, you need to ensure that they have enough work for 8 hours a day, 250 days a year. right? So you need to be very clear about using your capacity to the maximum. Now, another mistake, ladies, I do not want you to make is when you keep hiring people, right? You hire people because a person doesn't deliver. So you have person A does not deliver. So instead of either sacking person A or training him or reprimanding him, whatever you need to do, you hire person B to cover up and compensate for person A. So now you have person A and person B. Just think about it. You're paying twice the salary and you have two human beings to handle. So be very clear that when you scale and when you use people, you're a people-oriented business, ensure that everyone in your organization is actually delivering. And this is one problem with women. We don't know how to say no, and we don't know how to sack people and take those hard calls. It's okay. You're not going to be a politician or win an election. Doesn't matter. You're running a profitable company. I want all of you to like money, right? To understand money. And this should be part of your DNA. I don't want you to leave the money to your husband, brother, accountant, whoever. You are going to control your money, especially when you ask other people to invest in you. Why would they give you their money when you don't understand what it's all about, right? So please be very clear about this. Money is going to be your constant companion. I also want to ask yourself some very hard questions. What is holding you back? One could be resources, the other could be knowledge. These can be easily rectified. Your experience, you could look at mentors or employees who could add to your experience. But what you have to do for yourself is your own inhibitions. You need to get over your own inhibitions. As I mentioned earlier, you don't know how strong you are until you're in hot water. Please don't create more barriers for yourself. And I find that a lot of people hold back because they're maybe scared, maybe they're lazy as well, right? So be very clear about this. These are questions you need to answer for yourself. So your purpose as organizations and entrepreneurs is to ensure that you're creating value. Your growth can be managed month on month on month. You're managing your cash flow, and I want you to do this like a traditional Indian businessman. Every paisa counts. Your earnings need to. And finally, you have a responsibility to all your stakeholders and family, all the people that you have believed, who have believed in you. So your focus should always remain on these five. And I keep quoting Infosys here when I say that this is the kind of organization that Infosys, Mr. Narayan Murthy has.
And now only you move from your organization to ours. What,
Bill?
50?
Of course, now on your check it.
So this should be your endeavor that you have.
So we have given 30, like
What
18 plus 16.
Sustained value. Okay. Which brings me to one of my most favorite thoughts, and Radhika will agree with me on this, which is your value proposition. Right? Also called your elevator pitch. So ladies, when I talked about building your value proposition, you have 30 seconds, okay? And you have one sentence. And during this 30 seconds, in a one sentence, you're going to answer these four questions. Target customer. What is their need or end benefit that your product or service delivers? How do you do this? And why are you better than current and future competition? And this is something I want you to think about. It isn't an easy exercise at all, right? Because I have certain rules. Now, let me give you my rules. One is you can't use adjectives. I want you to quantify as much as you can, right? You may not be able to quantify everything. You cannot use the word price. I hope you're jotting this down. You cannot use the word price. Can't say I'm cheaper. And you cannot use the word quality, better quality. Can't use any of this. Now, within this very tight framework, I want you to sit down and think, and I'm going to give you an exercise to do. I want you to understand how you can be the Dolo 650 for a knowledge worker who has to necessarily sit in front of the screen, who's got recurrent migraines. So how can you be the Dolo 650, which kicks in 15 minutes and makes him headache free? Right? It is as simple as that. And you need to be a Dolo 650, right? So how do you define yourself? Now, the other thing I want you to note, do you realize that these are the 4 pillars of your business too? Take a look at it. Isn't this what you're doing? You have a bunch of customers. They need something from you. You're delivering that. They buy you because you're better. Isn't it? So what you're actually doing with the value proposition is articulating the pillars of your building that I spoke about before we put on the leaf. It's as simple as that. Let me show you a couple of examples and give you a little deep dive into what each means. So when you describe your customer, you have the demographics, age, size, income. You have the psychographics, which is how they think. And this is very interesting. If you can figure out why they are buying or what they really look for or why they don't buy, it's called an insight. Then you have a much deeper understanding of the customer. So when I say age, I hear these definitions a lot of times, we are talking to women, all right? How old are the women? Where do they live? What is their income? How many kids do they have? Are they dinks? Are they singletons? Women is a very loose term. So I want you to sit down and avoid all this looseness in definition. See, the sharper you make these definitions, the sharper product you can deliver and the better results you will get. If this is hazy, everything becomes hazy. Unless you decide, I want to be a commodity, I'm going to talk to everybody, but still you need to add an income parameter. The next part is your problem. And this is something, again, we all fail on. What is the problem you're solving? And I want you to ask yourself a very tough question here. Does the consumer really feel it is a problem or do you? So I have a lot of people who say, oh, we're doing sustainable clothing. Very good. But what is the problem you're solving for the customer? And that's where most or 93% of startups collapse because they're not actually solving a problem from the customer's perspective. Now, you may say the customer doesn't know what he wants, but if you want to do a Steve Jobs, as I call it, then you need to have very, very deep pockets. And I don't know your financial position, but I doubt that anyone has that kind of money, right? You can change habits on a large scale if you have pockets like Reliance Jio did. Okay, so be very clear about this. The next part of the value proposition is how your product or service is going to deliver to solve the problem. So I want you to link consumer, problem, your product concept. And here you have to be very clear on which part of your product or service solves this problem. And finally, what is your competitive edge? How are you better? So how would Shravika's, maybe you do clothes. I'm just your top of screen, Shravika. So Shravika's, say, line of clothing, how is it better than Sheeta's? It cannot be price and cannot be quality. So you have to actually find out, you have to do research and understand why you're better, right? I always recommend to all my startups that you need to meet at least 100 customers before you start your startup. And after that, I want you to spend half a week a day meeting actual customers, not on Google Forms, not using your interns, but going out there and talking to customers. Now, when I say customer, they're not necessarily people who are buying from you. but people who are likely to buy from you because they have the correct profile. So when you put this together, use this framework, right? So here's a framework you can use. Target, need, brand, concept, point of difference. See how simple it is. You need to write down why, all the details of your product in this chart, and then combine it in one sentence, 30 seconds. It's very tough. You will take at least 5 to 10 goes before you get it done. Do not use ChatGPT to write it for you. This is your company. I want you to write this, your heart and your understanding. This is another one. This is for Evershine, a service group in education. Now, the point of difference here is the quality of the students and the results, feedback from the employer. This is how it looks. Here I've cheated. I've used 2 sentences. You can use 1, but this is how you put it. See, very clearly, I'm saying for students in class 11 and 12, studying in government colleges, unable to get good jobs in areas like retail, hospitality, travel because of their poor communication and soft skills. So I've covered my customer and their problem. Now I talk about my product, which says I'm a blended online, offline communication soft skills program, which provides 3 to 6 months of free training and so they're employment ready, right? Because they didn't get jobs, now they're employment ready. How are you better? Because we have placed 400 students, say, and the employers are giving us very good feedback. Isn't this your business? And this is exactly what I want you to do. It's going to be the very, very difficult thing to do. You also need to do it for yourself, right? So suppose I meet a journalist in an elevator and they say, Riddhi, tell me about yourself. Now, Riddhi should not be talking about her dog, her cat, her mother, her village, all of that. But Riddhi should be telling that person why they should spend that 30 seconds while the elevator reaches the next floor on her. It should tell a media person why they should be interviewing her, right? It should be telling your organization why she should be made the chair. So be very clear, ladies. 30 seconds is all you got to make that impression. If you can't do that in 30 seconds, you have a big, big problem. For non-profits or social impact, you just change the language. So you call it the beneficiary instead of the customer, but the process is actually the same, identical. So you firstly have to talk about your product, and then your competitive advantage could be how you're helping XYZ. People are not buying you're helping XYZ. People are buying whatever product or service you're selling. The XYZ or whoever you're helping, while it's part of it, is not the reason they're buying. So suppose you are helping artisans, right? You've got a cohort of artisans that you're helping in traditional painting arts. People are buying the product of those artisans, the artifacts that those artisans are making. They're not buying the fact that they're tribal. That's also there, right? So be very clear that social impact organizations also have to make money. It's my strong belief that if social impact organizations don't make money, you'll run around with a begging bowl for it. Once you've written your value prop, test these 4. Never ask family and friends to judge your value prop. Ask a complete stranger to do so. If any of these questions don't get answered, dump it, make a surgical incision, and start again. Right? So this is something I want you to remember. Okay. So let me take a look at the chat, yeah? And then I'll come back to you. Okay. Yeah. So clarity, absolutely. Okay, there's a mute. Yes, Shavika, luxury products have a very distinct problem they want to solve. And you know what that is? That is, they want to create envy. They want other people to be envious of them. Do you not? Why would you buy a luxury product? You buy luxury products so I can put it on Instagram and everyone can say, "Ooh, Shravika can afford that bag," right? Because social media, ladies, is built on a single emotion, which is called envy. So when you build luxury products, you are actually selling status symbols and you are selling envy. And a lot of people who don't have anything else use that to build credibility. They say, "Oh, she must be very rich. She can afford a Louis Vuitton or a Versace." It may be a ripoff, but that's another matter. But can I walk around? Can I strut around with my product? Can I boast about my home, right? Or my art, or the fact that I bought Shah Rukh Khan's wife to decorate it for me, right? Are you really interested in poor Gauri Khan's interior skills? No, but I want to talk about it on my cocktail circuit, right? So envy is a big thing for luxury. Any other questions, ladies, before we go ahead? No? Okay. Now I'm going to spend a little time and I want you to work on this. We won't be able to finish it today, but let's make a start. All right. I want you to define what you do. So all of you pull out a paper and pen. Okay. I want you to define what you do. Write a couple of sentences, one sentence on your product or service. Then I want you to talk about your features and your benefits. Now, feature is a safety belt. Benefit is safety. A feature is an airbag. Benefit is preventing you from crashing. Again, safety. Feature 3 is anti-skid braking systems. Benefit is safety. Now, you need to order this in what is most important to your customer. Okay, so take a minute and I just ask 2 or 3 of you to put your stuff down on chat and I'll take a look at it. So 2 sentences on your product and so you can't write more than that. Okay, and what are those features and what are those benefits, right? The rest of you just put it down. I want you to think this through. This comes from consumer research, the last one. What is the most important end benefit? Now, those of you who have already got running concerns, which is good, I want you to do this exercise. Especially as you grow, it becomes more and more difficult for you to articulate what you stand for, right? Okay. Now, once you've written it down, pick up the most important end benefit from your consumer perspective. Okay. Right. So Himabandhu is, I won't be able to do all of you, maybe 2 or 3, maybe. Okay. Convocation Square
రెండు తీసుకెళ్దాం
help students.
ఒక పని చేయకపోతే కష్టం ఇది ఏది అనగా
Convocation Square helps students to select the right course and university in global universities. We follow unbiased career guidance with custom tailor-made approach, 100% visa success. Okay. So Himabandhu, I want you to break this down. And first, this is like a value prop. I want you to go down a little more and say what are your features. So it helps students select the right course and right course and in global universities. So it helps students who want to study abroad. I would like you to reframe to choose the right course and right university. That's what you do. Now, why? What is your feature? What is the problem these kids are facing that they don't get admission or they don't get visas? The problem is not the visa, is it? It's the course or the admission. Isn't that the more important part? Yeah. Biased guidance is a little unclear. Are you saying that your competition is biased? But the end result is the same. The end result is these kids want to go abroad, right? Yeah, so few universities and agents promote. That is the way they sell. That's not the problem you're solving, right? That's your competition. But what is the problem you're solving? They want to get admission in the right university, right? In the right course. Probably not even the right course, but right university, right course. That is the problem you're solving. You get my point? The problem is very different from the solution. So the problem is that they want to get admissions, right? And you're right, to also get scholarship perhaps. So they want to get placed in the right university and get funding or not. Okay. But the bigger part is, can they get admission in the right university? Now talk about how you do it. So you have a process, you have a framework, all of that. And you ensure there's 100% fit because you are university neutral. You understand? That is what you are doing. So I want you to list down. One is you have counseling, you help them to write their whatever statement of purpose. You help with their visa. The visa, etc., comes next. So first you have to get the admission. Okay. Now there's one more that I'm looking at, which Nandita has put up. All right. No, there's one with Richa. Yeah. Okay. So we sell bikes and cars to keep them running smoothly. Repairs are done using quality parts and make it easy for customers with online booking. Right. So you are looking at, these are two very different areas. So are you selling bikes and cars or the repair? So if you're ensuring that when people buy a bike or car, right, it works well. Because if it's a new bike or car, then it has to keep on getting repaired, then you have a problem with the product. So if you're going to do repair, then focus on the repairs and say, what is the problem with repair? What is the problem you're solving with the repair shop? That it gets repaired first time, right? Yeah, that you're able to repair the bike or car first time, right? So it doesn't come back. It doesn't doesn't have that problem again. The problem with repairs is we get very irritated. We have to keep going back and forth until they can fix it. Okay, so you ensure that once it's repaired, it is roadworthy and people don't have to worry. So repair it with your company and forget it. So like they said, fit it, forget it, repair it, forget it. Right? It runs smoothly. So that is the problem you're solving. And how you're solving it is that you have technicians, you have experience, whatever it is. You need to build that story up. Okay. Now, booking, transparent pricing, pick up and drop is great. Everyone can say this. Similarly, safe, satisfied, happy. They're all very generic. You need to be a little more specific because you don't have a cutting edge. Nobody will say that you won't be satisfied, you won't feel safe, whatever. You're saying we repair it, give it back to you. Maybe here you could talk about how soon you do it. Okay. There's one last one that I'll take before we go on from Nandita, which talks about fresh fruit sandesh cakes, which are gluten-free, totally falahari. Nandita, unfortunately, I am not seeing I'm not seeing your consumer in this. You're saying gluten-free and totally Falahari. Anyone could say this. It's also about taste, right? See, I like gluten-free and all of that, and non-sugar, protein, etc., etc. But why do I buy your cakes? Fresh fruit sandesh cakes, I buy because they taste so authentic, right? They taste like the stuff mom made, and it is gluten and it is healthy. So the crux of your conversation should be that it is tasteful first and healthy, not this way. All right. So you need to work this out, please. Yeah, both sales and service. Right. So then really focus on sales. Focus on why they should buy from you because of your servicing or because of the loans or whatever. So that part needs to be built further. Why should they come to you and not go to anyone else? That's a tough one because suppose you do Maruti, all Maruti dealerships have an identical look and feel, right? So why would they come to you? Perhaps because you're more responsive. You need to build that story. It's not strong enough. Service cannot compensate for the sales part. So you need to think this through a little more. It could be heritage. It could be that you had this for 25 years. You could talk about that I have 100,000 satisfied customers. That is a story you could perhaps build. Okay. And maybe the correct advice. Okay. So this is exercise 1. Exercise 2, I want you to look at your competition. Who are they and how are you better? Right. Please make a list, and I'm going to show you something called a petal diagram or a chart which you can use. Now, here again, no price, no quality. So how are you going to define yourself as compared to competition? This is a nice way of depicting competition. Please use this, the petal diagram. It's not necessarily 5 petals, it could be 6 or 4. But basically, you are looking at your whole competitive environment in clusters. So you have this Zana, which is a training firm, has corporate competitors, it has the startups, it has higher education, it has adult learning, it also has institutions, right? So they are competing against all of these. So how do they make themselves different? Now, I want you to think very clearly on how you can be in this top right-hand quadrant. Can you? You need to be very clear. If you have you need to build this. So this, like Shravika was saying, this could be a psychological benefit. I'm showing off, right? It could be with your car. I want to feel very safe. The car works beautifully, but then it's the brand which matters, but I ensure that you get the right car to suit your requirements. So maybe what you could do in that car scenario, whoever put that up, could be that we help you to choose the right car for you. So it's more like a car advisory than a car showroom. You get what I'm saying? That could perhaps differentiate you. Yeah? So I want you to think this through and figure out if you can find areas in which you are distinctly better and which distinguishes you from the competition.
I have a
Next.
question.
Yeah.
In your previous slide, ma'am, the benefit high-low.
Yeah.
So it's benefit 1, benefit 2, you map.
Yeah.
So can you
Where
just
you're low and
explain
where
this?
you're high.
Because typically in such a thing, you have two completely different attributes, but both of these are benefits. Like, can you give an example?
Okay. So if
Thank
I'm
you.
saying that I have skin cream, okay, the first benefit, the first attribute, the physical attribute could be I am using natural ingredients, right? So what it does is there are no allergies, right? So you can have it, your skin doesn't react to it. That could be one. The other one could be it has a high moisturizer content. So it leaves your skin smooth and soft because I'm using, say, real Malai I'm just giving you something off the top of my head. I'm using real malai, and I am using natural haldi to create this cream, which leaves it softer and prevents allergies. So I'm talking to people with sensitive skin. They can safely use this base because it is made of natural ingredients. So if I can get two benefits, and ladies, if you can get one, that's more good enough. If you can get one benefit which actually makes you stand out and is better than anyone else. For example, if you're selling a car, does it go from 0 to 60 RPM in 3 seconds, right? So that means it's a really fast car. Or is it a very powerful bike? Or is it a washing machine which can take about 8 bed sheets at one time, right? If you can quantify that benefit, then even a single benefit is fine. Okay?
Right. Thanks.
So make a note, ladies, features, physical features or attributes leading to benefits, which is what the customer buys, which is advantageous to you better than competition. It's called the FAB analysis, FAB analysis. Okay. Then I want you to define your value proposition. We've spoken about it, so I'm not going to spend too much time. I've given you the format in the earlier slides. Please use that. So you are the Dolo 650, which removes my recurring headache. Now, the last exercise is a poster. This is actually, ladies, a brief. This is your visualization of your organization. And I want you to think very deeply on this, because if you're clear and you can encapsulate this is your story. This is your visual story. So if you can encapsulate all that I've been talking about into this one poster, right? Then everyone sees it and understands it very, very clearly. Okay, so what is the end benefit? And I'll show you how to do the poster. So these are the components. And I want you to just draw one single page. You can use any software or hand draw it, whatever, I don't care. Your headline, and make a note of this, is the single most important benefit of your product or service. The visual is a picture of your product physically or the consumers who use it. I would prefer that you use the consumer picture here. You may have one or two sub-points which support your headline. And I've deliberately given you one page of paper. So you cannot write essays, Ramayana, Mahabharata. It has to be straight to the point. You may want to use a couple of more visuals, or you may not. So suppose you have a baby here, baby picture, and then you show the product range in the secondary visuals, that's fine. You have your logo, right? And your baseline. Now, baseline is like your tagline. Please don't write that ChatGPT style. It should be very, very straightforward. Okay? No, don't use big words here. Agencies love to write big things. They may make it sound ambiguous. Your baseline should be very benefit oriented, very clear. So I get your parcels here faster. That's your baseline. Instead of saying we are in the delivery ecosystem and we will support your value chain. So saying I'll support your value chain, you say that we deliver faster. That's all right. It's so simple. So I want you to follow another principle of mine, which is called the KISS principle. Keep it short and simple. And I'm just going to put this up in chat. Okay. Okay. So I want you to do this poster so that we're very clear on who you are. Okay. So these are the 3 exercises that I would like you to attempt, or 4 exercises. Please be very clear when you're sitting down. You need to sit down and think these things through. The sharper it is, the better. Okay. So now we have something that Shweta Srinivas has put up. Specialize in customized jewelry. Okay. It's everyday jewelry. Okay. Your unusual combinations help you stand out. Shweta, please don't use the word USP. It died 20 years ago. You don't sell, you deliver value, right? USP died, please drop that. High-end jewelry wear. Now, I am very confused, Shweta. You believe in customized jewelry, all right, I buy that. Then you talk about everyday jewelry. Then it says daily jewelry. And then you say high-end jewelry. So which one are you? So this is where the confusion arises, ladies. What exactly do you sell? Do you do
Yeah,
customized daily jewelry or what? I see 4 different thoughts in this sentence. Please, are you there, Shweta?
yeah, I'm there, ma'am. So I'm just
Yeah,
waiting for you to complete. So
go
I
ahead.
think I had a discussion with you also on this. So
Mm,
we are into these 3 segments. So I was trying to focus on one particular segment, and we had a feedback session with the clients. So,
mm,
but the clients gave a feedback like they would want us to continue in all of these areas because they would not come to us only for one particular requirement. So we have a segment of customized bespoke services for
mm,
all their higher end needs,
mm.
and for a regular purchases we are doing every day, which is like a different combinations, and then which is unusual jewelry what they don't find in the market in all the stores. The other is the high end investments in terms of gemstones. So this is how we are currently segregated. But when I was trying to focus on one particular line wherein I can, relate to my brand, so we've rolled out a feedback form and a survey to our clients, and we got a mixed feedback saying that we would want to see Shrutilaya into all of these areas because we would have multiple, requirements. So again, it went back to the same old question of how do we relate our brand to.
So what do you do now? Because
Uh,
what you put up here is completely confusing. I don't know what you do. So I would like you to think this through, and any one of you who can help Shweta with this, right? So why do they come to you? They come to you because you have a range. So
yes.
when you talk about customized, you're talking about jewelry to suit any need of theirs, right? Any
Yes.
customer need. So whatever the jewelry a customer wants, you have it with you. That would be a much better tack, right? But why do they buy the jewelry from you? Because of the unique design, right? You buy jewelry largely because of the unique designing, isn't it? And the bespoke pieces, not the quality, but the visual appeal.
Yes.
Yeah. So then say that. So say we have unusually designed jewelry of any type, of any kind to suit your different requirements, daily, wedding, parties, whatever it is. So we have very unique designs, right? Maybe that is what you should be talking about. You need to redo this, Shweta. So you got one good insight when you spoke to your customer that you need to be the one place they come to for any kind of jewelry they want. That's a great, very powerful statement. Use that and now add the design layer. Okay? You need
Sure.
to work. Yeah, great.
Thank you, ma'am.
And please drop USP. I feel very sad when I see this. Okay.
Done, done.
All right. Then we have singing, bowl, preschool, child centric. Oh dear. Shruti, very generic, my dear. Everyone does this. They all have ideal, they all have holistic. Maybe the confidence part is something you can build on, the only thing I see. But all of them are talking about confidence. So is there something you can work on? Otherwise, we'll have to work with confidence.
Okay.
And what is the bigger story that they can get into big school, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe it makes them confident because parents are crazy. They live through their children
Yes.
and they want the child to, join a good school. So maybe that is the tack you should take. Help,
Okay.
it grooms them for their admission interviews. And God help us, but 6-year-olds have interviews, right? So
Yes.
it grooms them for their big school interviews. That would be the area that I would work with.
Okay. Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
So are there any other questions or doubts or anything like you'd like to clarify with me? I'd be happy to do that. Yeah. Nobody? Okay. So please do these 3 exercises, ladies. I hope you've taken screenshots of them. They're pretty useful. And then we can look at some posters next time we meet so that I can understand how you see your business. Okay. I want to spend 2 minutes. We've got another 8 minutes to go, right, Radhika? 4:30.
10-15 minutes if you want, you can take it, ma'am. 15 minutes.
Great, great. So this is the first part of building one of the biggest set of building blocks you will be making. I will now talk a little more personally about you as leaders. You're leaders of your organization. You may not see yourself as such, but you're actually leaders, right? And you need to understand what leadership is all about. These are some of my learnings over the 40 odd years that I've been in leadership positions, right? I strongly believe
సైకిల్ చేయించినా పోయి ఆడుకోండి సైకిలింగ్ చేసుకోండి పోండి
I strongly believe that you need to be human and humane, tough, honest, disciplined, and not afraid to say no. Right? Now, you have to learn to toughen up. You cannot be popular all the time. Some of the decisions you're going to make are not going to be liked by everybody. You may have to let people go, which is fine. You have to run a business for the better good, for the greater good. And this is something we women fail with. A lot of men do. The word no, we don't know how to say no, right? And this is something I want you all to learn. The other thing I'm very amused about is this whole debate they keep doing on social media about working hard. Yeah, obviously you need time for yourself. I'm a great proponent. You need a day to recharge. But the rest of the time you need to work hard as well. And I think a lot of people want to get everything that they can, but they don't put in the equal work. Okay, so please be careful. I think someone's used the whiteboard and scribbled all over my slides. Radhika, I think you just need to open it and clean it up, please. Someone has used the whiteboard option and done a little scribble on all the slides. Yeah, please knock it out. Oh, it's all over now. Very good. Okay, just clean it up.
We're so sorry about it, ma'am. I don't.
Oh, no, what fun. Someone's enjoying it, so it's okay. I want to talk to you about something I want all of you to develop and which we women have in short supply, which is called executive presence. We either tend to be over-aggressive or very, very pliant, right? And neither is very good. Okay, so I want to look at this whole thing called executive presence. This is another buzzword, so I'll decode it for you. It's about thinking right, which is the strategy part I just spoke about. It's about communicating or speaking right, and it's about looking right. Okay. Now, when I say looking right, it sounds a bit shallow, not necessarily true, right? Your first impressions are very important. And this is why you need to spend that time building a persona which suits you. So don't try to be fashionable for the sake of being fashionable. Be fashionable because it suits you. This is something I'm very particular about. Study your type and dress accordingly, right? You need to be able to think and you need to be able to speak. And once this comes together, you are able to do right, okay, which is perform better. So I'd like you to make a note of these points. This is what executive presence, it's another fashionable word, which is part of your personal brand. This is very important for you to figure out. How do I build this persona? So I have to think, this is in no particular order, strategic thinking, authenticity. This is coming out very strongly. People are getting tired of false celebrities and false influencers. That you're balanced emotionally, you're confident, poised, and professional. And this is something a lot of women I work with fail. We give the impression that this is a second job, our other interests are elsewhere. For example, coming late for a meeting. Yeah, it's not done. Be there 5 minutes early, dressed properly, and with everything prepared. Don't go there in a flutter, because as it is, people have a very low opinion of us women, and then you compound the impression by behaving like you just got out of bed and arrived there and you don't quite know what you're doing, right? So this is very important. Strong communication skills, I've talked about, and we will talk about it further. The fact that you can decide. So a lot of us waffle, and this is not only for men, women, it's also for men. I know a lot of men, and that's what I train them for. They're not able to take a solid decision. They just sort of leave it vague. Yeah, could be this, could be that, could be that. Now, the moment you're indecisive, people think you're a doormat and walk all over you. And finally, charisma and influence. Charisma is God-given. Few of us have it, not everybody. Influence is something you can build by building the other components. So here's a little note I put up. Various people who have executive presence. I want you to choose one. For example, what do you think Narendra Modi, what do you think is his one predominant characteristic? Amongst this list I've given you here.
Strong communication skills.
Yes, and possibly charisma,
Yeah.
right? He's very confident, okay? What about Ratan Tata? Which of these is his most predominant characteristic?
Authenticity.
Absolutely. Now, Mukesh Ambani, very interesting choice. He's a great strategic thinker. He thinks on scale. But in terms of the typical executive presence, he doesn't have it. Though through these marriages, they're trying to build that. But he is one of those people who doesn't have a presence. He's just the richest man in the country. Obviously, he has a brain to get there. So he's a great strategic thinker, but his overall executive presence is not the best. Nirmala Sitaram, lot of good communication skills, and she's becoming more confident as she goes along. But she doesn't have that, shall I say, charisma that a Modi has. Okay. Then, of course, Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, Biocon, who's, according to me, not got executive presence. Indra Nui has got great communication skills and a lot of poise. Have you noticed that? Very poised in the way she is.
Yes, big fan.
Nandan Nilekani, though he's built some of the largest Aadhaar project was due to him. He is a great corporate executive, but I'm not very sure. Maybe confident is what I would think he is. And Kiran Bedi is extremely decisive. Some people hate her. Yeah, because she's a very powerful alpha female, very, very decisive. Okay, you listen when she talks. So ladies, I want you to think about your personal executive presence. Okay, rank yourself on these parameters. So I want you to do two things as a bit of homework. One is take 100 marks, right? And distribute it amongst all these characters. You have to put some amount for each. You can't neglect any of them because it's a composite. And then I want you to rank yourself personally against these so that you have some kind of benchmark when you want to try and improve your executive presence. Some of the tips that you can use to build your executive presence, including the last one, which is about dignity and grace. I have a strong belief in that. You have to have the ability to command respect. And believe me, again, I repeat what I said, it is all based on your knowledge. The more you know, the more people listen to you when you speak. Okay. So that's what I have for today. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It has been really an enriching session, and I'm sure we are all left with a lot of food for thought. I'm certain our members will leave today with not just tools, but also the confidence to stand in any room and say, this is my story, and this is why it matters. Now, I would like to invite Growth Coach team member Shravika Chaudhary to take up question and answers. I'm sure ma'am has been answering the questions. In case you would have anything, Shravika, you have any questions coming up, please take it up.
On the chat, we do not have any questions. So
Probably members could unmute because we are a very few and maybe ask Madam directly.
Before that, thank you, Malavika ji. I think amazing session. And I love the KISS formula. Keep it simple. Yes.
Life as well, Riddhi.
Yes.
As I get older, I've realized that we waste a lot of time when we are younger pursuing stupid ideas and, getting worried about what they will think. Now I've simplified my life so much, and I'm also simplifying my home because the dusting is getting a bit crazy.
Decluttering everything.
Complete decluttering of mind as well.
Yes. Yes. Can you actually elaborate on the fab this thing analysis, what you spoke about?
Okay. See, this is a product management concept, okay? It says you have certain features. So I'm going to do my favorite, which is Volvo cars. Right. So Volvo car is considered to be the safest car in the world.
I'm also an automobile industry.
All right, great. So that it clicks. Okay. So what does it do? So it has seat belts. So one feature would be a seat belt. One would be the airbag. One would be the anti-skid braking system. One would be the sort of crash body, right? It crumple zones. So these are my four features. Now, which of these all of these provide safety? Right? They ensure that the car is the safest. So if you list the set of features, the benefits of all of these would be safety, and you can further refine that safety. So seat belt keeps you in your car, keeps you in your seat, doesn't allow you to go through the windshield. Your airbag deploys so that you don't hurt yourself if there is a violent crash. Okay. If you're a fast driver, the anti-skid braking system allows you to brake in, say, 5 seconds. Right? So you have these features and you have their benefits. So list that. Then talking to the customer may see, okay, I'm not really bothered about the airbag. I know I have to have them, but what I'm concerned about is the seat belt. In which case, that should be what you're talking about. We are the safest car because we have these special seat belts which keep you safe and are comfortable. Because otherwise, the problem the seat belt cuts into your body, right? So comfortable seat belts made out of this special material. That is your feature. The benefit is safety. How am I better? Because I have this new material made out of Teflon, which is extremely, extremely safe, and it is our patent. So see how I built it. Feature, seat belt, benefit, safety, advantage made out of Teflon so that it is comfortable, right? It is comfortable and the strongest seat belt also.
Oh, thank you.
Any other? Yeah. You're absolutely right when you talk about executive presence. I agree with you. Okay, so let me take this one by one. Okay, one is a homework. I do that all the time because I'm a teacher. My other avatar is an academic teacher. How do we build a strong value proposition out of the? Yeah, that's the point. So here it possibly could be delivery, that you deliver much faster. You're available in whatever quantity they want. You'll have to work on that depending on the commodity of business you're in. Executive presence, very, very very tough, but it comes with age. And I was in a panel discussion a couple of months ago, and all of us came to the conclusion that being authentic is now becoming very important because there's so many scam artists on social media, right, who talk big and don't mean anything they say. So people are looking for more authentic people that they can follow, which is why peer-to-peer communication, peer-to-peer influence is becoming important. All right. Scale services business. How to scale services-based business. See, your services business, Shruti, you're talking about your preschools, is that you need to build very clear SOPs or standard operating processes. Any of you working in the service business, right? Uh, Even the car service business, You have to build what are called SOPs or standard operating processes, which are then replicable, right? That is how you scale. So what you're selling is that IPR when you decide to scale. So everyone has to have KPIs. There is a process that you follow. There's a customer journey, all of that. So all that has to be very clearly documented for a service business because your business is intangible. It's not a product. I'm not buying a pen, I'm buying a service. So you need to work that out very clearly so that the service factors are clearly delineated. So you have what is called a blueprint for your service delivery. You have your action points. You also have what each person has to do. You have your KPIs. All of that has to be documented. So when I was building Saatchi, I built what was called the smart working process for Saatchi, where I detailed everything that everyone had to do. It took me 2-3 months, but I think we're still using the document because it works automatically. The idea with the service business is the day-to-day should be very clearly defined. Okay, great. Radhika, we done?
Yes, ma'am. I'll just give a vote of thanks. Thank you so much, ma'am. I think it was an amazing session. And we all have, as one of the members have said, that lot of homework because we need to think about the business, what we are doing. You have left us with lot of thoughts, get a better clarity and how to approach better with our business. So
You
now,
must think, ladies. That's all I do with my teaching and mentoring. I get you to rethink about, and since I'm not involved in your business, I can give you a very objective view. I want you to think. That's what I do even with my teaching. You need to think and explore. And, it's all within you. It's your business. That's what I want you to do.
right, ma'am. I'd like to just give a vote of thanks. On behalf of Vicky Flo, YFLO, and the entire team of Growth Forge, I would like to take this opportunity to express my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who made today's event successful. Firstly, I would like to extend a sincere thanks to our speaker, Ms. Malavika Harita, for sharing your valuable insights and expertise. Your words have been truly inspiring and empowered us. A special note of gratitude to Past Chase for the continuous support, as well as to our dedicated Growth Forge team for the relentless efforts in organizing the session and our dear members. Thank you for your enthusiastic participation. We look forward to seeing you at our next session on 11 January with Professor Malvika Harita. Wish you all a wonderful weekend. Goodbye and thank you.
Thank you very much and see you, I think, on the 22nd.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye. 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 Take care.
Next session is on 20th,
20th, right?
22nd.
22nd
Yes.
January.
Yes.
22nd, is it not?
22nd January. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So do your homework by then. You've got lots of time. Bye.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you. It was
Thank you.
lovely.
Thank you so much.
Members, thank you for participating.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.